Welcome to the Lakers Nation newsfeed. My name is Trevor Lane, senior writer for LakersNation.com. We are powered by CLNS Media, and today's show is brought to you by Greats. Go to Greats.com, use the promo code LakersNation at checkout, get 15% off a phenomenal pair of shoes. They are truly well made, and you get 15% off again when you use that promo code LakersNation. Well, today we get to celebrate a little bit because the Los Angeles Lakers just picked up a 102-99 victory over the Washington Wizards, a Wizards team that is expected to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. So I thought today we would go over some takeaways from this game, what we learned about the Lakers. And I guess first and foremost, we learned that LeVar Ball wasn't lying. LeVar Ball made some controversial statements earlier on in the week where he said that the Wizards are coming to town. He said that the Lakers weren't planning, or Lonzo wasn't planning on losing this week. The Washington Wizards took exception to it. Marcin Gortat tweeted out something about how John Wall was going to wear out, or torture, I should say, Lonzo Ball for 48 minutes. And the Lakers weren't too pleased with that. They were standing up for Lonzo. John Wall himself said that there would be no mercy. Well, apparently there was no mercy needed because the Lakers were the ones to walk away with the W, and they proved LeVar Ball right. Has this guy been wrong yet? It's like everything he just speaks into existence. It's crazy. But anyway, Lonzo Ball versus John Wall. It turned into this big media circus, this huge matchup, and it ended up kind of being much ado about nothing because Lonzo Ball didn't have all that great of a game, but then again, neither did John Wall. Lonzo Ball really struggled with his shot. He was only 2 of 11 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3, but the great thing about this is even though his shot wasn't falling, Lonzo did manage to contribute in other ways. 8 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Only put up 6 points on the night, but the rest of those stats were absolutely phenomenal. And he kept his composure. Even going into overtime, he still kept his cool, which is all we've seen from Lonzo at this point. He just doesn't get fazed by things. And so that was great to see. Lonzo was able to contribute even though his shot wasn't falling. Luke Walton after the game was very complimentary of his young point guard and said that Lonzo Ball, even if his shot isn't falling, he's doing so many other good things out there on the floor for the team that he's still very much a positive. Now, John Wall, his side of it, of course, John Wall scored more points. He had 18 points, he had 9 assists, but he was only 7 of 22 shooting. And let me tell you this, Lonzo Ball coming into the NBA, a lot of people were questioning his defense and how good he would be at that end. And he is still not a good defender, don't get me wrong, but I was really impressed with what I saw from him on John Wall. He didn't have to guard him all the time. There were times where the Lakers switched Lonzo Ball off onto Kelly Oubre. Had him guard Oubre, they put KCP on John Wall instead, and then they would have someone else, usually Brandon Ingram, chase around Bradley Beal. So they mixed things up in order to hide Lonzo Ball a little bit. But you know what? When Lonzo did wind up one-on-one with John Wall, I thought he did just fine. There were some plays where John Wall got a step on him. One of them, he threw down a thunderous dunk. And so obviously that wasn't great. But there were also other plays where Lonzo did a really nice job of keeping Wall in front of him and then contested the shot, used his length on jumpers, and actually bothered him. And so that was really good to see. He even stripped him a few times when Wall did get to the basket, used his quick hands. So Lonzo Ball definitely held his own here with John Wall. No, he didn't score as many points, but you know what? He played pretty darn good defense on Wall. I was impressed overall on the night. And so there's a lot of positives to take away from this game for Lonzo Ball. I mean, to go head-to-head with a guy like John Wall and to be able to hold your own is really impressive for a rookie who's playing in just his 4th NBA regular season game. So nice performance from Lonzo Ball. Enough to probably quiet the haters for now. You know, the NBA is so polarizing sometimes with Lonzo Ball. Fans of the NBA are either we love him or they hate him. And a lot of that is because of his dad. But if you look at what Lonzo Ball actually says, he never really says anything that's all that controversial. He's always very complimentary of his opponents. He's not very brash or arrogant or anything like that. He's very humble and always a team-first guy. So it's hard to really not like the things that Lonzo Ball is saying. It's usually his dad that's saying things that is going to kind of get him in trouble and get other teams to go after him. But so far, Lonzo's done a pretty good job of standing up to it. Patrick Beverley aside, Patrick Beverley did a pretty good job on Lonzo Ball, but every other game this season, the other three, Lonzo has done just fine, even with teams throwing everything that they can at him. So solid performance from him. So that's a good sign moving forward that Lonzo Ball can stand up to some of the top players in the league. There's going to be nights when he gets torched. That's just going to happen. It's what happens when you're a rookie in this league. But overall, good performance from John Wall. Another thing that we need to take away from this game, Brandon Ingram finally steps up. Man, was that good to see and much, much needed for Ingram. Ingram was the number 2 overall pick last year, so people have really high expectations for him. And then Ingram didn't really do anything to dissuade those opinions this summer. Everybody has been really high on Brandon Ingram, played great in his one summer league game that we saw him in. All we've been hearing all year is about how much he's been in the weight room working out, how much better he's getting. Magic Johnson said he wants to see him average 20 points per game. So they haven't really been doing a great job at managing expectations for Brandon Ingram. And early on in the season and the preseason, he hasn't really lived up to those expectations. And even early on in this game, he didn't. In fact, I was running the Lakers Nation Twitter account during the game, and I was about to tweet out something about Brandon Ingram just kind of coasting along. He was just kind of out there, but he wasn't really doing a whole lot. And then next thing you know, he got a big rebound on one end where his arms just extended out on forever. They just seemed to never stop, and he snatched this huge rebound over the Wizards. This was in the second half, and then he led the break, and he got an and one on the other end. It was a big play. It got him going, and then Ingram took off from there. He ended up being the guy that the Lakers had go one-on-one with the game on the line. They were down a basket, and they gave the ball to Ingram to try to create something one-on-one against Kelly Oubre, and Ingram got the job done. He got to the rim, missed the first shot, but his long arms enabled him to tip in the second shot and send the game to overtime. So Brandon Ingram really stepped up, had a great performance. Listen to the stat line from him. 8 of 16 shooting. For a guy who's had a suspect shot, that's a really good night. Didn't hit any threes. That's a little bit of a bummer, but 3 of 3 from the free throw line. 10 rebounds. That's 10 big rebounds for Brandon Ingram. 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 19 points on the night. We will take that from Brandon Ingram each and every night. Hopefully, this is something that's going to get him moving forward now. That's a huge confidence booster for a young man. He is just barely 20 years old, really, to get in there and make a move on a pretty good defender in Kelly Oubre. Even though he's a young guy himself, Ingram was able to take him off the dribble and score with the pressure on. Big feather in his cap, and this game, pulling off the win in overtime against a Wizards team that is really good. Again, that's something that is going to stick with Brandon Ingram and hopefully gives him confidence moving forward. Now, another thing that we need to talk about, another takeaway, the Lakers have themselves a problem. They really do. They have a problem at power forward, but it's a good problem. It's a good problem to have, and that's that they have 3 guys that are all playing well now that Julius Randle has finally got going, and they all deserve minutes. You've got Larry Nance Jr., Kyle Kuzma, and Julius Randle, who have all played well enough and flashed enough solid outings, enough solid performances to where you say, hey, this guy has to get minutes. They can't all get minutes, not at least at power forward. Randle picked up some minutes at center against the Wizards, and that may be the path moving forward. Randle hit a big 3 at the end towards the end of the game to bring the Lakers to within a basket, had 9 boards, 3 blocks, only played 19 minutes. In fact, heading into the fourth quarter, it looked like Randle was only going to play like 6 or 7 minutes this game. It looked like he wasn't going to get that much playing time, and then he ended up making all the big plays down the stretch, including a huge stop on John Wall where he blocked him going to the basket. Now, Larry Nance Jr., he was the story of the first half, and yet he barely played down the stretch. In fact, he didn't play in the fourth quarter. Larry Nance Jr., 24 minutes, finished with 10 boards, huge, 2 steals, and 18 points. That kind of production just from Nance and Randle is incredible. Getting that out of your power forwards is amazing. And again, neither one of those guys played all that many minutes. Then you've got Kuzma, played 34 minutes, more than Nance, more than Randle. He only shot 6 of 15, but you know what? His spacing out there was so important. And in overtime and towards the end of the fourth quarter, we saw why it's so crucial that Kuzma gets minutes with Lonzo Ball. Their chemistry is real. It's going to be important for Luke Walton to find a way to get the two of them on the floor together, because Lonzo does a great job finding Kuzma, and Kuzma does a great job getting himself open for those looks. So the Lakers are going to have to try to figure out how to manage these minutes here. Nance has done a pretty good job as a starter. Randle wasn't too pleased with coming off the bench. He looked distraught. He looked upset in the late third quarter heading into the fourth, because he had barely played. I think he played about 6 minutes. And then he came in and he made all the big plays down the stretch. And to his credit, he ended up being the catalyst to really push the Lakers to the win. So Randle certainly deserves minutes at this point. Nance deserves minutes. Kuzma deserves minutes. You can't play all of them at power forward. The Lakers are going to have to go small ball more often. And that means Randle at center. So look for something like that. That could mean, and this is my next topic here, that could mean that the Lakers' rotation is going to be shrinking. And it kind of has to. Right now, the Lakers, tonight, they played an 11-man rotation. That's more than most NBA teams will play. So I'm thinking Randle's probably going to take Andrew Bogut's minutes. Andrew Bogut only played 2 minutes against the Washington Wizards, wasn't really all that effective. And Randle, on the other hand, was. And he's showing that he can actually pick up those minutes at backup center. So if you take those minutes at backup center, say Brook Lopez is only going to play 28 to 30 minutes a game. Well, there's 18 minutes right there that you can toss to Julius Randle if you'll commit to giving him all the backup center minutes. Then you can toss him a few more minutes here and there at power forward, but give the bulk of the power forward minutes to Larry Nance Jr. and Kyle Kuzma. That's a possible workable way to get around this. You can still sneak Kuzma a few minutes at small forward behind Brandon Ingram too, if you want to keep him on the floor more. And he certainly does deserve to be on the floor because he has been playing very, very well. So maybe that's a way around this. Ultimately, will the Lakers be able to hang on to all three of these guys? Probably not. Julius Randle, we know, is on an expiring contract, and he could be trade bait at the deadline. We don't know. And Larry Nance Jr., of course, the Lakers love. Magic Johnson called him his secret weapon before the season began. So you never know what's going to happen there. The Lakers could look to move one or two of these guys. But for right now, there's a three-headed monster at power forward, and it appears that the way to get around it is to give those backup center minutes to Julius Randle and then see how it all plays out. Luke Walton is adjusting things on a game-by-game basis, but for right now, that appears to be the path moving forward and the right way to go. Josh Hart, it looks like, is going to be picking up the backup shooting guard minutes, which I also think is the right move. Jordan Clarkson came in as the backup point guard off the bench. By the way, Jordan Clarkson has been phenomenal. He was excellent against the Wizards again. Only got 17 minutes because Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was so critical to defending John Wall. So KCP went for 42 minutes. Most nights KCP will not go that many. But by the way, KCP had a really good night too. Defending Wall, creating a little bit on offense. He actually had 5 assists. Wouldn't expect to see that out of Caldwell-Pope. Clarkson himself was great. 17 minutes, 8 points, 4 assists. He was productive out there. He looks great. This is probably the best I've seen Jordan Clarkson look. The Lakers are going to have some really tough decisions to make moving forward because in order to free up cap space, they've got to part ways with some of these guys like Randle and Clarkson. It's not going to be easy to move them when they're playing this well. Well, I mean, it's going to be easy, but it's going to hurt a lot more to move these guys when they're playing well and the team is winning and everything. It's going to be hard to stick with that long-term plan. So we'll see what happens there. Now, other than that, the other noteworthy thing from this game, and I tweeted about this a little bit, was that the Lakers finished the game off, most of the fourth quarter and the entire overtime, with a lineup of Lonzo Ball, KCP, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and Julius Randle. You add all those guys up, average age is just over 21 years old. That is an incredibly young lineup to go with. It's a young lineup, especially to close a game in crunch time. You've got 2 rookies on the floor, and yet it worked. They got away with it. Luke was able to put the young kids out there, didn't rely on Brook Lopez to go in there and do too much, didn't rely on any of the other veterans. This wasn't Corey Brewer closing the game. This was young guys who are definitely part of the team's future, and that is important. It's important that these young guys get those minutes and that they're successful in those minutes, that they're able to feel what it's like to play in a high-pressure game, to play in an overtime game against a team full of veterans, against a team full of all-stars, guys like Bradley Beal, John Wall, high-caliber players they're playing against, and they won. They prevailed. That's big in their development. That's big for their confidence. That's big for their progression as a player in the NBA. So very, very cool to see the Lakers not just get a win, but get a win because the young guys got it done. That's going to be important for this team moving forward. And we'll see. There's going to be ups and downs. This is a super young team, so don't expect them to go out and win a bunch of games and go 500 from here on out and make the playoffs or anything. They're 500 right now. They're 2-2. But we remember this story from last year. They were 10-10 at the end of November, and then it all fell apart. Okay, so again, expect this. Expect there to be struggles and everything. But nights like this, nights where they beat the Washington Wizards, a team like that, celebrate. This season, there is no tanking. There's no draft pick. There is no silver lining for losses. There's only reason to celebrate when you win. And that's something to appreciate. That's something to enjoy. So savor these victories because we got to see a Lakers team that really put it all together and is going to provide some hope moving forward. Now, is this the kind of win that's going to attract free agents and everything next summer? That's tough to say. I mean, it's so early right now. I've seen people tweeting about it already. Hey, LeBron, are you paying attention to this, right? They're sending out tweets to LeBron James. It's early to start making those claims, but you pick up some wins like this consistently, and yes, free agents are going to notice the Los Angeles Lakers. Whether or not that means they sign anybody next summer, we'll have to wait and see. But bottom line, this is a good night for the Los Angeles Lakers and definitely something to celebrate moving forward. These kids are developing. They're getting better. Walton's going to start honing in on his rotation. We're going to start to see more and more of them. Josh Hart is another guy that I didn't mention that has been doing excellent. He's been providing pretty good, solid role player skills off the bench as the backup shooting guard, doing a lot of good things out there. There's a lot to be excited about with this Lakers team. Just stick with them. Have a little bit of patience. There's going to be bad nights too. I guarantee you within the next few games, they're going to have an off game. It's not going to look great. It won't look pretty. They'll show their age. They'll show that they're young. But there's going to be high points too, like tonight. And this is the kind of stuff that's going to keep Lakers fans tuning in and keep them excited about this team. That's about all I've got for today, guys. You can follow me on Twitter at Trevor_Lane. Don't forget to check out Greats, GREATS.com. Use that promo code LakersNation, 15% off. It's a beautiful pair of shoes. And of course, head over to LakersNation.com, your one-stop shop for all things Lakers. My name is Trevor Lane. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. See ya.